The Boston Celtics defeated the New York Knicks today, 115-93. They lived up to the quote that Rudy Tomjanovich had today, which is you never underestimate the heart of a champion, and you had to give them credit. They went out for it at the start. They were ready to take this game at all costs, and they did everything they had to win this game. By the end of the first quarter, they were up 36-20. So after that, you knew they were going to win this game, that they were not going to blow a big lead again. I think it was safe to say it wasn't going to happen again after the first two games, that I just assumed that there was just no way the Knicks were going to come back from this. And I was right. It just got worse and worse as the game progressed. At a few points of the time in the game, the lead was up to 30 some points. So this game really was over after the first quarter. It was terrible. And I say this as someone who's not a fan of either the Knicks or Celtics, but I wanted it to be a competitive game. I like competitive games. The only time I enjoy blowouts is if it's against a team that I despise, but I don't despise either team. So it was frustrating. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see an intense game, but for being honest, every game of the series hasn't really been close until the fourth quarter. This was like the third straight game the Celtics got up by 20 or more points. The only difference in this game, and I think it should be concerning for Knicks fans, is that the Celtics didn't blow their 20-point lead. They built on it, and they did it with just their three-point shooting. Like, whenever they went up by 20, they would hit a few more threes, and it just made it impossible for the Knicks to come back. Whereas in the previous game, whenever they went up by 20, it's like their three-point shooting would dry up. But this time, it didn't dry up, which is very concerning if you're a Knicks fan, because maybe they're finally over the mental hump of just choking these leads, and now if they go up, they're just not going to blow these leads anymore. I think that's safe to say. What is even more damning in this game, they shot great from three-point range. They hit 20 out of 43s, whereas I think the first two games they were like 20 out of 100. In this game, they were shooting 50% from three. In this league, if you're shooting about 40%, especially 50% from three, you're not going to lose. You're just not going to lose. And obviously, they didn't lose. They won bigly, as they would say. Now, I'm not a fan of Boston style play. I've never enjoyed their three-point chucking, but it worked today, and unfortunately, it could win them another championship. You can never rule that out. It's hard to defend Boston when it comes to their three-point shooting. They didn't run away from their identity like some people were suggesting. They stayed true to who they are, and they ended up winning this game. And if you look at all their players, really, for the most part, the only guys that shot really well in this game overall from the field was Derek White, who shot 60% from the field and had 17 points, and Peyton Pritchard, who had 23 points of 8 of 16 shooting from the field, 5 of 10 from 3. He shot 50%. Those are like the only guys that shot really well. But it's just that overall as a team, Boston was hitting their threes. Like Tatum, overall, he shot like garbage, 40%, but he was hitting his threes. I remember that was the first troubling sign at the start of the game. Was I think he must have hit like 2 or 3 pointers in the first quarter that shots were falling today, and I knew that was a bad sign. You look at a guy like Jaylen Brown, even, that he hit 2 3-pointers today despite shooting poorly overall from the field, 7 of 18. So this is a team that doesn't really have to be efficient overall from the field, from field goal percentage. They just had to be efficient from three-point range, and they were super efficient today. That to me is very concerning, for the Knicks. Like, how do they adjust to this? How do they get back to defending the three-point shot from Boston and forcing them to shoot inefficiently from three-point range? I don't know. Boston is a very difficult team when it comes to defending their three-point shooting. If they have this confidence now, then the Knicks are in trouble. There's just no way for me to spin this. I don't know how the hell you can fix this, how you can stop their three-point barrage. It's quite a buzzsaw to deal with. But I would say the other problem I saw in this game of the Knicks, really, I would be concerned if I was a Knicks fan, is I looked at Cat in this game. that a few times in the first half he was holding his hand in extreme pain when he got fouled a few times by the Celtic players, that his hand was just, in a lot of pain, and he played through it. But he shot 5 of 18 from the field. If I'm a Knicks fan, I hope the hand issue is not a big deal. There's nothing broken. There's no torn ligaments inside of his hand. Granted, he played this whole entire game, but you just never know. Hopefully, it's nothing major, and he ices the hand, and he's good for Game 4, because I really felt the hand held him back in this game. He shot 5 of 18 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. He just seemed in quite some pain and discomfort. Granted, he shot 10 to 11 from the free throw line. The other thing that was a problem for the Knicks this game was Mitchell Robinson. This guy shot piss poor from the free throw line, which is expected, but this was the game where it really hurt the Knicks. That at the start of the game, I think he missed his first 7 or 8 free throws, and that allowed the Celtics to gain some momentum. They converted on those misses, and it ended up putting Knicks in the big hole. It was one of the many reasons. But if Mitch continues to shoot this poorly from the free throw line, how much can you really play him in the series? I think that's a tough situation for the New York Knicks to deal with. Like, what do they do in that circumstance? But the Knicks as a whole, outside of Mikal Bridges, they just played like trash. They were really bad. 5 of 18 from Cat, that's not going to get it done. 9 of 21 from the field from Brunson, that's not going to get it done. And if we're being honest, Brunson has shot like shit throughout the series, but it hasn't been talked about much because he was clutch in the 2 wins the Knicks got in Boston. But he has to start shooting better. They cannot win this series if he's going to continue to shoot way below even 40% from the field. And granted, it's not easy. The Celtics have a lot of great defenders to throw at him, and Jrue Holiday and Derek White. But he has to figure it out. He has to figure it out how to overcome this. That it's a tall task. The other thing I would say, it bothered me, and I'm a neutral fan of this game, is all the touch fouls they were calling on the Knicks in this game. You may look at the free throw shooting this game, and you see the Celtics only shot 17 free throws while the Knicks shot 35, but that's very deceptive because 12 of those free throws they shot were just from Mitch fouls, to be honest. Like, I felt they were calling the Knicks for a lot of touch fouls in this game, and they weren't really allowing them to play defense the way they were allowed the first 2 games. And that kind of bothers me because I'm seeing this in these other playoff games in the second round. It's like they're bringing back touch foul calls in the regular season. I thought, based on the first round, that they were just going to allow physicality for the whole entire playoffs, which I enjoyed in the first round. It's like, why the fuck are you doing this, Silver? You're bringing us back to this boring ass style of basketball to watch. I don't know if you got a panic attack watching these low scores like 90 to 80, and he's like, oh shit, no, I can't have this. I need to go back to the 120-point scoring games. I really need to jack off and masturbate to those types of games. Just like, I hate Silver. I really do. Just, if he's going to have the games called like that, well, it's not going to be really fun watching them anymore. And plus, I don't think that favors the Knicks anyway. I think the other thing that really sucked was the Celtics did get away with a lot of hacking in this game when it came to guarding Knicks players. They were allowed to hack a lot, and there was just no calls. So that helped them, but the Knicks were not really allowed to get physical with the Celtics. So I don't know what was the deal with that. So I didn't like seeing that, but I'd still give the Celtics credit. They came out with the right energy. Their defense was great. They hit their 3, so here we are. Now the Knicks, they got to win Game 4. There's just no way to spin it. If you do not win Game 4, they're going to lose this series. There's just no way they'll ever win another game in Boston. I just don't see it happening. So they gotta win Game 4. I hope we see a better game, and it's not the typical game in the series where the Celtics just go up easily by 20 or some points. But this time the Knicks, don't come back. Like, granted, Knicks came back the first 2 games, but I just don't see them coming back from 20-point deficits anymore. I think the Celtics have figured it out, and they're just never going to blow a 20-plus lead again against the Knicks. So what the Knicks need to do the next game is they got to find a way to keep this game close and not get down by 20. And if they're in striking distance in the fourth quarter, they can make a run at it and win the game. That's what they have to do. They have to be better in it. Hopefully they can. I want to see a competitive game the next game, not another Celtics blowout victory. But if the Knicks are not careful, the Celtics can win the next game by 20 or 30 points. I am just being honest about that. But I don't have anything else to say about this game.